Good evening. We'd like to open up our board meeting. We began at 4:45 this afternoon with a workshop and moved into closed session in which no matters were determined. And so we'd like to open this session with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to ask our new board member, Chris Forehand, to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you. Please stand. Put your hand over your heart. Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we would like to have a summary of our workshop, which was on Griffin Connections. And Mrs. Reed, would you lead us in that, please?
Thank you so much, Madam President. It was my honor tonight to discuss an update on Griffin Connections with the board. Griffin Connections is a first instruction summer school program that we initiated last year in the summer of 2020, offering social science courses to our Los Alamitos High School Griffins over the summer for first instruction credit. We were thrilled to have 138 students complete a year-long summer course during that program, employ 4 teachers, and we're looking forward to moving forward with the planning stage to continue this program into 2021. And with the input from the board tonight, we will be moving forward, continuing Griffin Connections into summer 2021.
Thank you very much. That's great news. Thank you. It's wonderful work that you're doing. We'd like to now move on to an action item, consideration and approval of the contract for employment of Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. And Elvia, we would love for, this is a great honor for me to be part of this. And I'm going to read a portion of the contract agreement. Pursuant to the Government Code Section 54953, Subdivision C3, the board provides this oral summary of the salary and fringe benefits for the individual selected as Assistant Superintendent Business Services, Mrs. Elvia Galicia. The term of the employment contract is 4 years. The salary to be paid to the Assistant Superintendent Business Services is $186,422 annually. Other elements of compensation include health and welfare benefits at the same level as other management employees, a mileage allowance of $358 per month, holidays, vacation, and sick leave at the same level as other assistant superintendents. And we will now take a final action to approve the contract. Do I hear a motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very, very
Probably
fortunate.
vote first before we congratulate
Okay. Okay, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. So now we can tell you we're absolutely thrilled beyond words. So
Yes.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
And we will be, later on in the agenda, we'll be introducing her. We just obviously wanted to have the board officially approve the employment contract, but we are looking forward to introducing Elvia and hearing a little bit more from Elvia as well.
Perfect, thank you. So now we move on to reports and recognitions, and we'll begin with my board president's report. And I hope I have better luck with this clicker than I did last time. Okay. So we would all like to welcome back staff and students with a sincere hope that in 2021, our community will return to a much less complex and challenging world than the one we experienced in 2020. However, we are fully aware of the impact of the virus, and subsequent shutdown has been felt and will continue to be felt deeply by each one of us on a multitude of levels. What has always made this community uniquely special is the way we come together in good times and bad. A true sense of community that provides connections, guidance, friendship, and support has never been needed more than now. We need each other. Tonight in the President's report, I would like to draw attention to resources that have always been offered and are still being provided. I'm referring to parent workshops that are offered not only by the district, but by also such groups as the Human Relations Advisory Committee, the High School Inclusion Committee, and campus PTAs. Although we cannot currently meet in large groups, these presentations continue to reach families through webinars and Zoom meetings.
Just press the next.
Okay.
On this.
Oh, there it goes. There you go. Okay.
Tina may have done it.
Did I go? Okay, thank you. Did you do it, team? All right, thank you. Last October 15th, in the midst of navigating the challenges of the pandemic, as well as hybrid and online learning, the Human Relations Advisory Committee presented a virtual online parent night, Stay Calm and Stay Strong, led by Jody Hutchinson, Los Alamitos High School counselor, and Christine Morris, Los Alamitos school psychologist. Wise, research-based guidance was provided to parents for not only taking care of their children's mental health in the midst of a pandemic, but also for caring for their own needs as they were encouraged to exercise self-compassion and self-care. The presentation gave lots of opportunities for interaction, with participants having the opportunities to ask questions and get input and support from the presenters. It was a powerful evening in which these women not only shared practical information, but also addressed ways to tackle the anxiety and stress we are all feeling. Good, thank you. Weaver PTA is sponsoring 6 Weaver virtual parent nights dealing with parenting with Dr. Jerry Wichman. In the first workshop, Dr. Wichman addressed how the pandemic and ongoing quarantine are impacting our children's minds. He not only explained this impact, but also shared strategies for identifying and dealing with the difficult aspects of this complex situation. Further sessions will confront how to put problems and fears into perspective, how to teach ourselves and our children to become what he terms mental fighters, how to help our children manage emotions, and how to talk about mental health with our children, especially when we think they're struggling. I was able to participate in both of these incredibly valuable workshops. They reminded me that none of us should feel alone in this struggle. We need to seek to understand, and we need to be aware of the importance of striving to connect with others in ways that may require a little more creativity and effort. The last workshop I would like to highlight reminds us that the work we do is ongoing. Issues and concerns existed before the pandemic, and they will exist after we see its end. It also reminds us that even if we do not personally believe we are facing a particular problem, the ability to educate ourselves and share issues in this community gives each one of us the capacity to support a friend or neighbor in need. In January of 2020, just before the pandemic hit, a parent education night titled Vapes, Alcohol, and Other Drugs was presented at McAuliffe. This workshop and others to come are the result of a partnership with the Orange County Health Agency and the district to present parent nights that provide education, support, and opportunities for discussion about helping our children make the best choices and develop healthy behaviors. We are all aware that the work of parenting is never done. However, if we've learned anything in the past year of the pandemic and unrest, it is that we all do need each other. Our community will thrive when we work hard to educate ourselves on all issues that impact our way of life. These opportunities for parents to come together virtually or in person will continue to provide valuable tools, enabling us to stand strong against the challenges ahead. Finally, I would like to move away from this topic and celebrate an honor bestowed upon someone we deeply value and respect. Dr. Andrew Pulver has been selected by the Orange County Register as one of the 100 most influential individuals in the county. As we contemplate the magnitude of this honor, please consider that this county has 34 cities, 27 school districts, over 300 college and junior college campuses, and too many hospitals and nonprofit organizations to mention that have great leaders worthy of recognition. However, in the words of the Orange County Register, Dr. Andrew Pulver, the superintendent of Los Alamitos Unified, led his district to become the first in the county to receive the state waiver to reopen and help the district through numerous challenges in the pandemic. Well, we on the board and those who have worked 24/7 with Dr. Pulver since last March know that the challenges the Register refers to have been monumental. The waiver was obtained because of months of collaborative work that ended with a plan for campuses to make them safe and healthy places for all our staff and students. It included creating instructional plans for online and hybrid learning, getting PPE, and determining technological needs. Dr. Pulver worked with the community and staff to solve problems and create solutions. He faced every challenge with intelligence, integrity, energy, and commitment. This work became an exemplary model sought after by districts across the state. One aspect of his leadership that I respect most is Dr. Pulver's ability to not only lead with great strength and vision, but to find the gifts and expertise in every team member and trust each individual to do his or her job with the same determination and character that he himself models every single day. I'm truly honored to work with him and incredibly proud of the man that he is. I could go on with a myriad of examples of why Dr. Pulver deserves this honor that goes far beyond the challenges of the pandemic, but I'd like to now give my fellow board members a chance to speak. Mrs. Hill?
Thank you. Dr. Pulver, you are the most humble servant to this district, and I'm sorry, I didn't expect to get emotional, but you truly are. And I just am so grateful that you are here to help lead this amazing team, and I know the care that you have for absolutely every student. And to be such a model that other districts would come to us and ask, how did you do this? And that you did it with your team, but with such grace and such elegance. I am just really appreciative, and I am very, very proud of this honor for you, and it's well-deserved.
Okay. I also want to join in with my congratulations. Unless you were really here, the complexity, the issues that came up, the emotional involvement, the disparity in scientific information was, it's to the point where I would probably have to eat a lot of chocolate before I could make a decision because there were so many moving parts, and some of them were just like spinning out of control, and there were no specific answers. So you worked with your team. I know you didn't do it yourself, and you never say you would, but you took that leadership step to say, basically, what is best for our kids? And I remember, I was president when this started, and I remember you said to me, should we apply for the waiver? And before I could say, why not? You said, we might as well, because we don't have to open. We can apply for the waiver, and then we have options. And that was great. It was still, you had to fill out lots of information, how you were going to do this, how we're going to do that. And it wasn't an easy thing, but you knew that would be the best thing for our elementary students, and you didn't hesitate. So I'm glad that the Orange County Register had the wherewithal to recognize that this was a very bold step taken by a strong leader who has what is best for kids in his heart and head. So this is truly well-deserved.
Mr. Forehand?
Yes, I'm 40-some years in public education, and I know what leadership means, and you exemplify it. And I consider him a gift to all children and to the staff in this district. So I remain in awe.
Mr. Fayette, would you like
Congratulations. I look forward to the opportunity to, working with you to make this district all that it can be.
Thank you. I am humbled. I'm moved to tears as well. Thankfully, the mask can hide a bit more of that. But I really have to say, I think that our motto that we started upon when we first, a year and a half ago, of Better Together, really exemplifies, because I'm just one person on the member of this team and could not have done it without, I would really say, the courageous leadership of the board. The board had to really take some courageous stands and really be able to be visionary, to be able to offer multiple programs to our families, and then challenge us as staff to find ways to be able to meet differing needs for our families, to be able to provide a full-time virtual option for our families, as well as an in-person model that would be safe, along with the conditions that kept changing. And then really the committee of 70, 80, 90 people ongoing throughout the summer our associations who allowed us to really think differently and alter our school calendars to really get ahead of this. And I think we really maximized with our school calendar by starting early last year. So we got more days of instruction for our students pre-pandemic. And then by pushing it out now as well, I think we got more days of opportunities for in-person. And really just an incredible executive cabinet and principals and administrators, our classified champions to really make our classified employees, whether they're our custodians who are constantly cleaning our classrooms and securing products and materials that are needed. It really is the concept of really everyone coming together. So I recognize that the registrar has to, at some point, recognize one individual, but really this is a testament, I think, to the amazing community, to the courageous board, and the amazing team that I'm blessed to be a part of. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pulvert. Okay, now we're going to move on to the student board member report, which we all thoroughly enjoy. And just like the other members of high school, Nico Villanueva, our student board member, is at home. So he's going to give his presentation via Zoom. And welcome, Nico.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, President Davidson, esteemed board members, Dr. Pulver, Executive Cabinet, and community members watching live. Before I begin, I'd just like to welcome our two new board members, Mr. Forehand and Mr. Fayetteville, and say that I'm looking forward to meeting you both very soon. Without further ado, here's my student board report. Next slide, please. First things first, I hope you all had a great and safe winter break and a happy start to your new year. I know I enjoyed my break, but let's take a look at what some of our own Griffins did over break. Next slide, please. Senior Stephanie McCarthy went to see the holiday lights and decorations at the Naples Canals, which I hope you all got the chance to see because they were so great this year. Another senior, Trevor Felter, and his mom rung in the new year by going mountain biking on January 1st. Next slide, please. Another senior, Sinead Cork, spent her break coaching the younger age group at her rowing club and getting together safely with family. And another student, Ryan Grace, got to see a drive-through holiday light show with her family. Next slide, please. As for me, I spent my time breaking in my new Christmas gift, a paddleboard, at the Long Beach Bay. Needless to say, it was a great way to be socially distanced and soak up the sun at the same time. Next slide, please. However, break did have to come to an end, and from January 4th to 14th, students will be attending class virtually as a proactive measure to slow the spread of COVID. Monday, January 18th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so teachers and students will have the day off and return Tuesday for 4 days of hybrid school. And our last event of January is first semester finals that last from Monday, January 25th until Thursday, January 28th. Next slide, please. And although this was a brief one, no report would be complete without a student spotlight. So this week, I'm proud to introduce you all to Alexandria Magana. Alexandria is a senior and member of the drama program at La Salle and is a national honor thespian for her drama troupe, which, for all my non-thespians out there, means she has spent 1,000 hours within or around the theater. She is co-president of her troupe, in charge of planning events to support the department, and was selected to be one of 12 state thespian officers in California, where she organizes theater events for the entire state. And on top of all that, Alex is the president of Give Club at Los Al, where she creates fundraisers for the Precious Life Shelter in Los Alamitos. I know, that's all very impressive, but it gets even better. Alex started her own business, Too Hot to Candle, where she makes and sells homemade soy wax candles. She started Too Hot to Candle last July after binge watching Shark Tank in quarantine and feeling inspired to create something of her own. She also wanted to start saving up for college, and this business was a great way to start. When beginning her business, her mom was super helpful and supportive, advising her to go for it, but also to be consistent. Alex is extremely thankful for all her customers thus far and plans to continue selling candles until she has to leave for college. But until then, she will continue to release new scents every month. For the month of January, the scents are Cowabunga, Clean Machine, Jar of Dreams, and Sit Back and Re-Wax. So if any of these sound good to you, go support Alex on Instagram at _2_hot_2_candle_. Alex is yet another example of our Griffins being exceptional, well-rounded students, so congrats to her and all her hard work. Hats off to you, Alex. Well, that's all I have tonight. Thanks for listening and have a great evening.
Thank you, Nico, and we look forward to seeing you back on campus very soon. We now are moving to our superintendent's report. Dr. Pulver?
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the board. Nico, it's great to see you again, as I said last time, without a face covering. It's nice to see your face, and then out in enjoying your present, the paddleboard. So I think our students and our staff all deserved a really well-earned break over the winter recess, and I know it was very different than years past, but I think our challenge, no matter what, is to find joy in what's in front of us, and so I know that we heeded that challenge. So tonight, one of the things, I have a few items that I want to share during my superintendent's report, but I was really reflecting over this past year and really some of our students who, we talk about the 4A's, academics, athletics, activities, and the arts. And for many of our students, we are much more than just an educational institution. We really are about cultivating their passion. And our students are so passionate and artistic within the arts. And I know that this COVID pandemic and the different limitations has really dampened what might have been possible for their video performances or their show choir or the dance or the drama. But I am incredibly in awe by our teachers who oversee these programs in the creative and the innovative ways that they've been able to showcase the talents the artistic talents of our students, and giving them still a platform to perform, because we're more than just educating. It's really about performing that art as well. And I know many board members participated in some of these performances, but I just wanted to highlight various ones that was able to participate in. So the Oak Advanced Drama, they did There Is Nothing to Fear, songs from the pandemic. And they presented 25 of 154 sonnets that were written, that the students wrote. It really was from a William Shakespeare set as well, and they did a wonderful job, and I'm really excited to be able to see that. Our McAuliffe Advanced Drama students, they were hard at work on a series of monologues inspired by Greek mythology, and it was literally called Mythologies. And so to see their production, and what I was also in awe was how the McAuliffe team found a way to recognize our junior thespians. They did a drive-in ceremony, and it was all videotaped, and to see the flashing lights and the honking of the horns to still celebrate our kids was beyond spectacular. And then Oak Choir was proud to present their winter concert. They still found beautiful ways to present and to showcase the talents of our Oak singers, Joyful Noise. And the video was streamed from December 11th to the 19th. And I know with all of these, really the parents and the boosters really also made it possible. The McAuliffe Middle School Choir presented their fall choir concert, I Dream a World, and it was based on Langston Hughes' famous poem. And I love this aspect of it, that really students were reflecting on social issues facing the youth in America today, and then how they might use art to bring about that social change. And I didn't get the opportunity to, but I know Mrs. Hill did. With the drama performance at Los Alamitos High School, performed a live streamed Behind the Computer Curtain, a night of one acts, and they had 2 one acts of a help desk and homeschooled. And I am sorry that I missed it, but I heard it was just spectacular. And I want to thank again our drama department to making this possible for our students. At our last board meeting, the same night that we had our board meeting, our Inspiration 2020 Reimagine the Music was being showcased, and I had the distinct pleasure to be able to be filmed prior to be a part of it. Justin Padilla invited us to be a part of that, and really it was an evening recognizing our jazz and our orchestra students and preserving and sharing their love for music. It was spectacular. I told Mr. Padilla I wanted to watch it like 3-4 more times. He said he wanted to watch it probably 100 more times, but it really was incredible. And the production that they did I'm still in awe and how much coordination and work that took to be able to pull that off. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, I'm not sure if they'll be selling videos, but I would say pay attention to when future performances will be going on, because I'm sure they'll be as inspiring as Inspiration 2020. And then literally, I think we were out of school. I think it was the Friday and the Saturday where school had got out. Our show choir at Los Alamitos High School with Mr. Molenkamp and Moana Derlin and Eddie Clement and just the amazing students. I don't know of another place that was providing a production like that. And the parents, they did it all outside filming. They used the rolling hills of our quad, the lights. They still had the smoke. I had to ask Mr. Molenkamp, gosh, how many camera angles did you use? They had some high angle ones, etc. And it was just spectacular to see our students engaging in such wonderful productions and dancing and with face masks, with 6 feet apart, and following all of the guidance that was stipulated. And to envision what is possible as opposed to saying we can't do that because of the guidance, I just have to really commend our teachers for really finding ways to find what's possible for our students. And I will commend, I reached out to Mr. Molenkamp over the break after I watched it because I was in such awe. And he said, I'm just so glad that we had an opportunity to have in-person instruction, because I don't know how I would have been able to provide this opportunity for those students if we didn't have in-person instruction. So just another way to show that I think we can find ways to have kids on campus and safe and really share their talents with one another in the community. And so I want to thank all of our booster parents and all those that were involved to make all of those art performances possible. It really reminds us that we are about the 4 A's for our students. And so I want to segue next into just providing the community and the board an update of where we are with our second semester survey. As many of you will recall, we started this school year providing 2 options for our families: a traditional pathway, which could be a hybrid, which it has been for the bulk of the year thus far, as well as a full-time virtual program that we call LoSal at Home. And initially, the LoSal at Home was intended to be a year-long commitment, and yet we really wanted to respond to members of our community who were nervous about making a year-long commitment to being virtual learning. And so they really implored upon us to find a way to survey them again mid-year to see if they wanted to change their opportunity, which pathway, could we find a way to do so. And so in doing so, we made a commitment to survey families that for those that selected LoSal at Home, that we would seek interest to see if we could accommodate their request for the second semester, and if anybody wanted to move back into the traditional. Or in this case, we also decided we were going to open up the survey to our families who were in the traditional pathway. We didn't commit to that in August, but we decided to go ahead and do that. And so districts, families who are in the traditional pathway who wanted to consider looking at the numbers, maybe they wanted to consider going into the LoSal at Home pathway for the spring semester, we actually gave the opportunity to all of our families once again. And so just to remind you, we gave our families 2 weeks, but we gave them about 2 weeks notice ahead of time that the survey was coming. In fact, Mrs. Reed provided multiple virtual town hall sessions for families to answer all of their questions and to go over the whole process before the survey went out. The survey went out, and our families had from November 23rd to December 4th to let us know what option they wanted to choose for second semester. And since December 7th to ongoingly, we are really doing an analysis and staffing updates to see what we can accommodate. And of course, our goal is always to accommodate as many families as possible. And we've pledged that we would communicate no later than January 15th, whether or not we were able to accommodate that request in the placement communication. All for the start of our second semester, which begins on February 1st at all levels. And so I want to kind of just state that our families received the email with the directions on how to log into Aries. And then we've been doing this analysis for a number of days. And I'm pleased to say that already we've been able to tell all of our elementary families that we were able to honor their requests. So how many requests were requested? We had 58 requests, 20 students in our traditional pathway requesting to go to LoSal at Home, and 38 students of our students at LoSal at Home are requesting to come back into the traditional pathway. And once again, I'm pleased to share 100% of our elementary requests have been granted, and we were actually able to communicate to them before they left for winter break. I'm also extremely pleased to share that every single student was able to, if they were in the LoSal at Home program, none of them had a teacher schedule change, which I know was some of our LoSal at Home families' concerns. So they're all remaining with the same teacher for the second semester. And we were able to place all LoSal at Home students who wanted to come back. We were able to put them back at their home school, whatever school they regularly attended last year, as long as they were with us last year. So I don't think you could ask for any better results at elementary. The master schedules at middle school and high school are much more nuanced. And so we are still working on that. I'm very optimistic that we'll be able to grant the majority of our placement requests, but we are still taking a look at how we will accomplish that. But for the community, we pledged to share out the results. We had 53 students from our traditional pathway requesting to go into the virtual LoSal at Home program at the second semester, and 26 in the opposite way who are in the virtual who want to come into the traditional pathway. And at Los Alamitos High School, we had 143 requesting to move into LoSal at Home, and 20 more requests to go from LoSal at Home into traditional. So more students at the secondary level, a bit more, and that's where we had the least number of students wanting to go into the virtual program. So a little bit more wanting to go into the virtual program for the second semester. And again, we're still on track to notify our families no later than Friday, January 15th. We always hope that we can do it sooner, but we will deliver that on that promise as soon as we can, but certainly no later than January 15th. And then students whose requested are granted, they'll receive a new schedule Friday, January 29th. That January 29th is the prep day between the two semesters. And so we'll probably need all of that time to make sure we can get the schedules correct. But really good news, and I continue to hope at our next board meeting that I'll have more good news to share about how we've been able to accommodate the requests at middle school and high school. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pulver. We're now moving on to our school report, and under normal circumstances, the room would be full of parents and families and children singing, but we're not in normal circumstances, so we will be doing a hearing from Hopkinton Elementary Principal Mrs. Evelyn Garcia. She'll be presenting her school and student report via Zoom. Thank you. Welcome. Okay. I think Mrs. Reed, would you like to introduce her first? Apologize.
Thank you so much, President Davidson. I am actually privileged to share that Mrs. Evelyn Garcia, principal at Hopkinton Elementary School, will be joining us this evening. She'll be presenting our typical school board report, which will include a student board report as well. And she'll end tonight by sharing with us a very special parent that she has with her, who she'll be honoring with a very special school award. Mrs. Garcia is the current principal at Hopkinton, 6 years now at the home of the Huskies, and leading just an amazing school site. So I see you up there now, Mrs. Garcia, and we'll go ahead and come live to you.
Good evening, President Davidson, esteemed members of the board, Dr. Pulver, cabinet, and community members. I would like to begin by saying congratulations and welcome to our new board members, Mr. Forhan and Mr. Fayette. I would also like to start, as always, by just sharing how privileged I feel for the honor to serve as Hopkinson's principal. It is truly a blessing. As a mom and as an educator, I just cannot think of a more wonderful place Although this year looks very different from any other, it has proven that through this pandemic, our bond has deepened in the home of the Huskies. We passionately pursue excellence for all Huskies in everything that we do. Campus life continues to be extraordinary. We are so excited to be back. Whether online or on campus, we lead the difference every single day. Every day is purposeful. We are on a passionate pursuit of grooming scholars for greatness to become contributors of our community that do wonderful, positive things. We are preparing our Huskies, and our teachers, our staff, our parents are all in this together. Teachers and students work hard in order to reach for those unlimited possibilities that we always talk about. Hopkinson's tradition of excellence is evident through our continued desire to push both the art and the science of teaching. And this year we have really truly seen both of those married together in order to teach phenomenal things under these circumstances. In our classrooms, teachers ignite fires of curiosity and deep thinking. We keep fostering an educational environment that encourages kids to communicate, to question, and to critically think. Getting our Huskies excited to come to school, whether it is online or in person. We are really focusing on engaging all students so that they don't lose that fire that they have for the discovery of knowledge. Maintaining a sense of normalcy is very, very important. And so every quarter we are continuing to celebrate kids as we would in a typical year. We still have Husky Awards, and I love engaging in classroom visits and celebrations. Instruction is as rigorous as always, with teachers preparing, planning, and using signature practices in everything that they do. TK through 5th grade, our Huskies are engaged in activities that push them to think and to perform at their highest level. We share responsibilities here at Hopkinson in order to keep each other and our kids safe. We work as a team to follow protocols, to clean, to plan carefully, and to support one another. Just as in this picture, our drive for excellence results in extremely confident kids that are taught the importance of having a growth mindset. Walking through classrooms, it is rewarding to see Huskies taking risks, sharing ideas, and actively participating in their learning. Does it look different? Absolutely it does. It looks a little different. However, the true nature of who we are and the pursuit of excellence is still present and alive. Here you can see that we continue to acknowledge and really pursue early intervention. With the support of Ed Services and Evan Grandin, our reading TOSA, we have continued our reading lab, which is huge. Here you can see both of our credentialed teachers that support our most struggling readers. Our reading lab teachers are offering remote instruction, and so here you can see them on Google Classrooms that they've set up in order to best support the students that they help. Although not on campus, we have 133 Huskies that are learning from home. These are still Huskies at heart. Working alongside the elementary principal for Hopkinson's at-home Huskies, Mr. Rick Larson, we are tightly connected to our Huskies, and we ensure that they stay connected to Hopkinson. Participating in virtual school spirit weeks, and my favorite, my monthly virtual meeting with my Huskies where we engage in real time. We are fortunate to still offer our music and STEM with our amazing teachers working diligently to provide lessons that are engaging, even if they are remote. The lessons are hands-on. They work extremely hard to get materials to students on time so that they are still as creative as they were in school. Our strong connections is what sets Huskies aside. We did not let distance affect our tight bond. If anything, it brought us a little closer. It let us see the true meaning and the light and the power that we are stronger together. We ensure to stay connected to our community through our paw print, which is our weekly newsletter, our website, our social media, PTA, FOH meetings, and of course, every month, not only do I connect with our Huskies, I also provide an opportunity to virtually open my office door and invite parents to come have coffee with me with my coffee connection. As mentioned before, meeting with students is also a highlight of my month. Together, we engage in spirit weeks and spirit activities. At Hopkinton, teachers, staff, and our community have participated in various car parades, videos that go to and from one another, activities that are really working hard to strengthen our connections. These connections are what make us Huskies. They're what makes Hopkinton a unique place. It brings our Huskies joy and pride and allows us to push them hard to be the best they can every day. To talk a little bit about connections, I am so honored to present two of my 5th grade leaders, Gianna Barzati and Anaya Lal's video that they produced themselves. So now it is my joy to present that to you.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Pulver, and everyone present. My name is Gianna Barzati, and I am proud and honored to be a Husky. It all starts with the teachers and faculty. They create an environment of high expectations of learning and kindness. The teaching staff are so committed. They are always willing to help, whether it is during school hours or after hours. I've learned to communicate, read, write, spell, type, and most importantly, how to be a kind and respectful person. During my years at Hopkinton, I've developed many friendships that I'm very thankful for. Some of my favorite memories at Hopkinton are going on a field trip to In-N-Out, writing our snow globe stories, and learning about Greek mythology. Hopkinton has an incredibly strong pack of Huskies that are resilient and unstoppable. Campus life at Hopkinton is still great. We are in a global pandemic, and the highlight of my day is coming to school. I look forward to being in class with my teachers. Things look very different compared to years before. We have dust shields, wear masks, we social distance constantly, and I've never washed my hands so much in my life. My hands are so dry from the sanitizer, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I love being in school and in class. Thank you for making that possible.
Good evening, school board, Superintendent Pulver, and all watching. My name is Anaya Lal. Community is so valuable to us Huskies. This is my 6th year at Hopkinton, and my experience has been truly wonderful. At Hopkinton, we learn to accept one another regardless of background or culture, and most importantly, this journey helps us get to know ourselves better. One of the greatest lessons that I learned from this school is that you are not alone. You have a team. I learned that people are better together, and when you persevere and work towards a goal, you will get there one day. Overall, my elementary school experience is the best it could possibly be. Even though I've not been on Husky Leadership Council a long time, I have learned what it means to be a leader and the qualities that make you one. We began filling buckets and actively serving. Now on leadership, I take these lessons and focus on making an impact. Hopkinton is an extraordinary place.
How blessed am I to serve children like those two little girls there. A huge thank you to Gianna and Anaya for just doing an amazing job. As I mentioned, and as they mentioned, it really does take a team. We're stronger together. So in that slide that you just saw, I was thanking our partner, Leif, for their huge contribution to our STEAM initiatives here at Hopkinton. Thank you so much, Leif. Also, I couldn't do this without Friends of Hopkinton and our amazing Hopkinton PTA. Friends of Hopkinton and the PTA truly move mountains. Their support is invaluable, and they are get to yes all the way. Thank you for being champions for kids. This year, we have still had so many of our same activities, from Red Ribbon Week posters to our great flocking that all of our kids look forward to, many fundraisers, and hey, we even made pizzas. We continue really pushing to make sure that we bring these extraordinary experiences to our students. And as President Davidson mentioned, we also offered a parent night, calm parenting in this crazy pandemic. And it was a huge thank you to our parent groups. We are so grateful to our district officials and our visionary board for our amazing bathroom. We waited for it and we could not be happier. The bathroom is serving adults and students on campus. We are so happy. Thank you, thank you. We are currently in the process of fencing our E-wing to provide safety and more ventilations in classrooms and upgrading our kindergarten playground. Thank you so much. Hopkinton is truly beautiful. We have a hardworking professional team that has a genuine, huge heart for kids. We have phenomenal families and just the best kids around. I am blessed beyond belief. As I mentioned a few times, we are stronger together. I am so grateful because none of this would be possible without the support of our visionary board and our superintendent, Dr. Pulver. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to serve my Hopkinton community. Are there any questions?
Mrs. Catulli?
Evelyn, this is Meg Catulli speaking. I want to thank you so much for your presentation. I have truly missed our school's reporting, and you did a phenomenal job. And what I love best about the school reports are the students, and you had two incredible students give their take on school during the times of the pandemic, and I just so appreciated that. And it just shows how resilient our children are and how by going a little bit of a distance for them, it just pays off so much. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you. It really is an honor. Thank you.
My kids were both Huskies, and it just gives me such gratification to see you on that campus, Mrs. Garcia, because every time I've been able to walk the campus with you, you have such love in your heart for your teachers and your students. They come up and hug you. You know their names. You care about each and every one of them, and it's evident in everything you do. And it is especially gratifying to see the smiling faces in your video, because I think we feel far removed from what's going on campus, or at least not as connected as we were. And it just means everything to see what's going on, the great education the students are getting, how hard the teachers and staff are working, and it's under your leadership. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and it truly is my privilege to just inform all of you that there really is so much joy on campus. That is the one thing that I can genuinely say, that when you walk on the Hopkinton campus, kids are happy and teachers are thriving in their classrooms doing their magic. So thank you.
You're so great. Well, we're going to move on now. You have a special
If we can, I'd just like
I'm
to
sorry.
add in. I apologize. I just, not only thanking you, Evelyn, but really your entire team of teachers and classified employees who just show up each and every single day for students. When I think back of last spring and some of the things that our teachers and that our classified employees were doing to find ways to connect to kids, literally showing up on their doorsteps and sending different messages or finding ways to celebrate our fifth graders as they were promoting, because all of that was shattered. And really embracing this concept to be able, as we talked about earlier tonight a little bit about when we decided to go for the waiver to open up our schools, we could not have done that without the support of our teachers. Really, our teachers were the ones that embraced this concept, who wanted to be with their students, particularly at the elementary level. And when I'm thinking of so many of your teachers on your campus who really, even today when I got the pleasure to visit you just briefly, you were saying how your teachers were saying, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful to be here when they're coming in and getting their temperature taken. So just a huge thank you to your entire staff for what they do for the community and for the students. I'm forever grateful, and I am awe to be considered a part of their team.
As am I. I really can't say it enough. They really are champions for kids through and through, and they are just so happy to be here. And I couldn't be more honored to support them and serve them, because they are just the most amazing professionals.
So I apologize. I'm learning this whole job here, and I didn't mean. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay, so we're moving on now to a very special presentation, Hero of the Heart, and Mrs. Garcia, you get to take this, and please Go ahead.
Mrs. Lisa Paul, really a true hero of the heart through and through. A true hero offers their gifts, their time, and their hearts to others. This describes Lisa Paul. Lisa is a staple of the Hopkinton community. She works tirelessly to provide extraordinary experiences to all Huskies and is always willing to lend a helping hand with no expectation, but just the sheer joy of giving. She has served in so many roles here at Hopkinton, at McAuliffe, and throughout the district. She pours herself into Friends of Hopkinton and PTA. Lisa is a doer. She gets to yes at all times. To know her is to know that you can trust that things will get done. Lisa has a heart of gold. It is an honor and a privilege to present Lisa as Hopkinson's 2021 Hero of the Heart. Lisa Paul has served in every capacity here at Hopkinton. She has volunteered as room mom, has held positions on the PTA board, has helped with Carnival, chaired many book fairs, served as FOH president for 6 years and counting, has been the Hukilau chair for 3 years. She helped launch the Color Run and helped launch, she started our fully parent-run school supply fundraiser. She serves on the Los Alamitos PTA Council and is now also the treasurer at McAuliffe, all while raising 2 phenomenal kids and being an amazing wife. Lisa is a role model for her 2 children and truly all the children at Hopkinton. She is always willing to serve and is selfless in every way. Her service is rooted from her deep love of her family. She is a wonderful friend, wife, mother, and volunteer. Lisa has been married to her husband, Mike, for 16 years. Together, they have a 6th grade son, Logan, at McAuliffe, and a 4th grade daughter, Allison. Lisa has an MBA, and she ran her own consulting business until her youngest started here at the CDC at Hopkinton. Then she transitioned to volunteering full-time. When she is not here at Hopkinton, she's helping at the dance studio, spending time with loved ones, and enjoying her kids, creating memories and traveling. It truly is bittersweet for me that Lisa and her family are beginning a new journey together as they will be moving to Tennessee in the spring. Though she will no longer be physically active on campus, she leaves an important mark in the history of our school that will long live all of us. Lisa, you lead with such kindness and grace. Tennessee is getting a true gem, and I couldn't be more jealous. The moments and memories that you leave here with me personally are something that I will keep in my heart forever. You started with me, and we have taken the 6-year journey together. So it truly is such a gift for me to be able to honor you. Thank you for being you, Lisa. Thank you for serving Hopkinton from your heart. You have been a light on campus. You are a light for me and in so many lives that you touch. You and your contributions are appreciated by everyone. And now, Lisa, I would love to introduce you and your husband, Mike, and her 2 beautiful children. And if you would like to say a couple words, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and do that.
Wow. Thank you so much for those kind words. It's hard to sit back and let somebody hear wonderful things that they have to say without feeling unworthy of it. As I mentioned earlier today, I was still shocked receiving this award. It is bittersweet. I knew from the moment I was pregnant with this one that I wanted to be involved in their school and I wanted to be a part of that aspect of their life. I just never realized to what extent that would be. I don't think I've ever worked harder than I do now that I'm not getting paid. But I also don't think I've ever been more fulfilled than I am now when not getting paid. I hope to continue being able to volunteer and take as much, but nothing will ever take away being able to spend their most important elementary school years with them on campus and them see what it means to volunteer, letting them see what it means to put in your heart and soul into fundraisers that we don't see the money for, the whole school sees the money. And it's been a great lesson to teach them a great lesson for myself too. So I'm going to miss Los Alamitos. I never imagined that my kids weren't going to be Griffin, but you know, life takes us in different directions, and we're excited in the direction that we're headed, and we're excited for Tennessee, but we will miss Los Alamitos and everyone in this district so much. Thank you for this award. Thank you to the board. Thank you, everybody. I'm truly honored. And this is my son, Logan, and my daughter, Allison, my husband, Mike, and thankful. So, wow. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. This is new for us. We normally would be doing our Hero of the Hearts here in the boardroom. We have a standing ovation from all of us clapping, so I think we're going to still try to do that for you. We're going to stand here for you to congratulate and thank you for the incredible work that you do as a member of the Husky community and really just district-wide. We are just so thrilled to be able to have amazing parents and members of the community. We really are a village here to provide you extraordinary opportunities for our students, and we could not do that without you. So certainly want to thank you for all of the years of service, your recognition. Your legacy will outlive even your presence here in Rossmore. At all of our schools, when we have our Hero of the Heart, there's a plaque in the main office that memorializes who was recognized each year. Mrs. Garcia is showing that now, so your names will be updated. Your name will be updated on that, and we certainly wish you the best as you and your family move on to Tennessee. I think I agree with Mrs. Garcia. They're receiving a gem, and
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other board members?
Catulli would like to speak.
Yeah, Lisa, this is Meg Catulli speaking. I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. Obviously, you've done a ton of stuff at Hopkinton, but I know you mostly from council. And you have always been there to support every kid, every adult who had a question about anything with PTA procedures. You're so right on with the money and know what doing and the auditing and all that kind of stuff that if you're not a bean counter at heart, a lot of people shy away from that. But you've always done it with grace and intelligence and the best intentions. Nashville is really they're getting a lot, and I'm a little upset that they were able to lure you guys away. But I know that it's going to be an incredible adventure for the Paul family, and that's the most important thing. Thank you so much. You have made a mark in Los Alamitos, and we will not forget you. And just embrace your new life. I know you guys will be on the top of everything and having a great time. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed my time on council and the experiences that it gave me. And I hope to be able to take some of those with me, and maybe an opportunity like this will come up for me in Tennessee. So,
Mr. Fayette would like to speak.
Hi, Lisa. This is Scott Fayette here. I just want to say, if anyone ever exemplified what that award was for, it's you. Your dedication, your effort, your willingness to always step into the breach whenever there was an opening or an opportunity to help out the school, not just for your children, but for all the children. Just a deep, heartfelt thank you, and it's going to be very sad, and you're going to be deeply missed. Enjoy Tennessee, and you will be missed. Thank you so much for all that you've given to this district.
thank you very much.
Anyone else like to speak? Well, we absolutely wish you all the best, Lisa, you and your family. Tennessee is getting quite a package there. But I just know that it's people like you, parents like you, that make Los Alamitos Unified the district that it is. It's all the support, the leadership, the constant giving, the creativity, the ability to bring people together for a cause that makes this community what it is. And thank you so much for all the heart you and your family have put into all of this, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to a very special presentation, and Dr. Pulver.
Thank you, Madam President and esteemed members of the board. It is my distinct pleasure to be able to recognize our Administrator of the Year. And normally, we would like to recognize, we have an amazing employees. One of the things I always say is the hallmark of this district are the people And at the heart of much of that is our exceptional employees. And we normally would recognize some of our other employees of the year, but it's really dictated by when the timelines are due. And the administrator of the year timeline, because they go to the county and then to the state, has the earliest deadline. And so we were pleased to be able to select and to surprise and to announce that principal at Hopkinton Elementary, Mrs. Evelyn Garcia, has been selected as the Los Alamitos Unified Administrator of the Year. And so I'd like to speak a little bit more about that. Miss Evelyn, she started her tenure here in the district actually as a LAVE employee. She was a program director for 2 years before she was hired. And then I love this when some of our administrators, as many of them have been, started off their career in teaching here within the district. She worked as a teacher at both Weaver Elementary and Hopkinton Elementary. And as you heard earlier when she was introduced by Mrs. Reed, that she's now serving her 6th year as the Hopkinton principal. Evelyn is one who just continues to innovate, to collaborate, and to provide unlimited opportunities for our students. She really embraces all staff, all students and parents, and she just is one of their biggest advocates. She loves being a Husky. Her children are a Husky as well. We often say here in Los Al, and sometimes it gets misconstrued in a workhorse way, but all in all the time. And Evelyn is certainly one of those who's all in all the time, literally. She works here. Her kids go here. They're involved in many of the activities. She lives just a few houses down from Hopkinton Elementary. In fact, she calls her office at school her home office because it's just a few steps away from her home. And she really works with an amazing team. Hopkinton Elementary, as you guys may recall, the last year that we had CASP data was #1 in math in the entire county. And that is because of their extreme, yes, congratulations. Of just a relentless pursuit to really focus on all students and to provide extended learning opportunities for students. You saw Mrs. Garcia talk about that in her presentation. She goes above and beyond to really connect with her families. As you heard, having the monthly coffee connections, the coffee chats with the principal. I just think that's a wonderful opportunity to really engage our families. And she does something, and in her community does something that really they're beacons within the community as well. One of the things that I love that Evelyn continues to share with our other principals as well is they recognize how important the community is to the school. And sometimes if you live right near a school, that is not, there's some pros to it, but there's also some cons because our parents don't always, sometimes they'll park in the driveway, they'll block the pathways, they'll speed a little bit here and there. And Evelyn and her team just always write letters to the community. So the kindergartners will go ahead, usually in the spring, and they write little messages and they drop them off on the neighborhood doors. And I know the 5th graders do that at the holiday. So it's just those little personal touches to continue to show that really we're a community. And when we say the hallmark of this district are the people, it is our staff, but it's our students and it's our parents and it's our community that really make us. And so she is also one who just is an exceptional leader. She is one who's always willing to go above and beyond. She shares with our colleagues, her other principals. She's been one of the founding members and puts in a lot of time outside of being the principal at Hopkinton Elementary on our Human Relations Advisory Committee. She was really one of the first ones on the task force and even the pre-committee that met with it. Prior, she is a leader within our Special Education Advisory Council as well. She's just someone who is caring, who's hardworking, who's compassionate, and I could not think of a finer individual to really represent our Administrator of the Year. I want to thank our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Joe Frazier, goodness gracious, found really in this pandemic time, how do we find a creative way to surprise someone? And so in the partnership with Mrs. Reed called a staff meeting, said, oh, we wanted to speak. And Dr. Frazier was able to get a confetti gun and meet with, get her family, Freddie, and we surprised and announced her recognition, and just it was a joyful celebration. But I love that the teachers also really celebrated and honored her. It was within less than 12 hours, Terry Fieldson created and wrote a special song memorializing the recognition that Mrs. Garcia got. And so we're just pleased to be able to recognize her. I was fortunate this morning to be able to drop off because we normally in person, we would give her the present and the certificate on behalf of the Board of Education, congratulating her. And I did not know this about Mrs. Garcia. Evelyn was tortured to have this present and not be able to open it up. She said, you have no idea what this is doing to her. She wanted to open it up right, and I said, nope, you got to wait till the board meeting. So Evelyn, I'm going to release you from your torture. If you would like to open up the present, please do so, and then I'd certainly invite you to speak, and I don't know if your family's with you, if you'd like to recognize any of them.
Yes, thank you so much. Of course they are with me. Freddie and the kids, will you guys please come right over here? Thank you so much. I cannot begin to put into words what an honor this is. To work with such a fine team of individuals. This is my little one right here. To work with such a fine team of individuals, all of my colleagues, the principals at all of the different schools are so deserving. It is just very humbling. Los Alamitos, Hopkinson are my home, my dream come true. I say that again and again, and I will say it forevermore. And so to serve is an honor, and I never take that honor for granted. And in any capacity that I can contribute, I am always willing and honored and happy to do so. And so now it's time for me to open the gift, because it is very
her
true.
secretary, Carol Donner, said, I wouldn't put it past Mrs. Garcia if she opened it and taped it back up, but they were going to report to me, and I didn't get a report, so I
Mrs. Donner was
assumed
watching
she did
carefully.
not.
She wanted to make sure that I kept the surprise. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. This is beautiful. There it is. That's the correct. It reads, to honor your service to education. Thank you for your dedication to the students and staff. Evelyn Garcia, Administrator of the Year. Thank you so much.
Would anybody else like to say anything to Mrs. Garcia?
Go ahead. Evelyn, this is Meg Catulli. Congratulations. I feel you are so deserving. There is such a joy on your campus that in the prior times when we were able to walk through, the warmth and joy of being there is, you can feel it and you can almost touch it. And it's because of your leadership. So thank you so much for what you do for our kids every day. This is so richly deserved, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud to know you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Garcia, this is Diana Hill, and I've known you for a long time, and I've seen you come through quite a journey, and you're just one of those that came into our district and came in through our foundation and found a place for yourself, and just has grown and blossomed in who you are, in your career, in what you do for children every day, and also the joy of having your family. Freddie and I have a special relationship. We're Cowboy fans together, and so yeah, just have that connection, and the way you connect with the community and with your community as well as with the larger community is just something really special, and we're very, very fortunate to have you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Forehand?
Yes. Hi, Mrs. Garcia. This is Mr. Forehand, one of the new board members. And after watching your presentation, I am even more excited to come visit the Huskies and to watch you in action. So I'll look forward to that hopefully in the next month or so.
I look forward to it as well.
Okay, congratulations.
Mr. Fayette?
Hello, Mrs. Garcia. This is Scott Fayette. I just want to say congratulations. What an accomplishment to be recognized by your peers and be presented with this award. I just want to say what an incredible job you've done there. It's just amazing, the growth and everything that we've seen. I've known Mrs. Garcia since she was a teacher. I've worked for her. I volunteered there.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to Hopkinton in 3 years, and it feels like a lifetime. So I just wanted to say again, congratulations. What an incredible job you've done there. And keep up the great work, especially with all these trying times. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We just see, this is Mrs. Davidson again, we see so much joy on your face, and it's so obvious all the love that you have for your kids, and we really deeply appreciate that. But I also need to say, you are very dedicated to the whole academic aspects of your job. When I did the consulting before, you were a taskmaster. You set out your objectives. You took me through every classroom. You asked the teachers what they expected from me. When I did the presentation, you didn't come in and go out. You stayed. I vamped and revamped 3 or 4 times just because I knew that your expectations were so high, and I wanted to be that person for you and for your teachers. And your standards are high, and it's obvious in the school. I think I remember when I first came on the board at a presentation, you said your math scores weren't quite what you wanted them to be, and that you were going to address that. Little did I know that a year and a half later, that meant that you were going to have the highest scores in the county. So that is kudos to you. That's an outstanding achievement. We're so proud to have you as a principal in our district, and we know how you love your job. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I do. I'm so privileged to work with just such amazing people. It really is a dream.
Thank you. Enjoy the celebration.
Okay. I will. Thank you so much.
So I think tonight is the night of wonderful EG women, because now are we going to move on to another celebration with Dr. Pulver for Mrs. Galicia. So if you would like to go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'll tell you, these are the board meetings that I miss, and it's so nice. I know all of you have really missed the school reports and really the recognitions of our incredible employees, our incredible students and families and community. And that usually has been the heart of our board meetings. And so I'm certainly invigorated by tonight, and I look forward to these ongoing, because we'll start recognizing every single school site at our future board meetings. But tonight, as we alluded earlier, it gives me great pleasure. You know, Los Alamitos Unified School District is a very highly sought out school district for individuals to be employed. And people go through a very rigorous process to be selected, and so it brings me great pleasure to announce that after a rigorous selection process with participation from various stakeholders, including certificated and classified staff, community members, board members, civic leaders as well, that we have selected Ms. Elvia Galicia as our new Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. It brings me great joy. Elvia has over 23 years of school finance experience, so just a wealth of experience and knowledge. And what I love is really it's this quiet confidence that Elvia brings with her. As you know, she's been our Director of Fiscal Services. Prior to that, she was in Paramount, where she served for well over 10 plus years in various fiscal services roles. And as she was selected as our Administrator of the Year last year, she was also recognized by the entire county as the County Business Services Administrator of the Year. In fact, since that recognition, other districts and the county have been trying to woo her and encourage her to apply for other positions. And what I love is just the sense of loyalty, the sense of family, and the sense of commitment that LVI has to the school district, to our community, to those that we serve. And she really epitomizes this concept of service, of serving students, of serving staff, of serving our school sites. And I received so many accolades from a vast array of, whether it be our association presidents to various employees who just were thanking and congratulating on what an exceptional caliber of an individual and that we selected to move forward as our new Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Elvia has a great story as well. I think I was in tears when I was able to offer her the position, because what she never loses sight of is she's a mother. And she shared with me the importance to be a role model to her daughters, and it made me emotional. And it actually reminded me when we recognized her as the Employee of the Year, her daughters were here in the boardroom. We happened to have a meeting in person, and what she didn't realize as they were walking out the boardroom, we have pictures of our Employees of the Year, and her daughter literally took a picture of her mother up on the wall because her daughter was so proud of her mom. And I know that those were some of the first words when I with great fortune to be able to offer her the position of what a role model she wanted to continue to be for her kids, to let them know that anything is possible. And so, Elvia, I'm just pleased to be able to continue to have you on our team in this larger role, and would love to open the opportunity for you to share a little bit more and be introduced to the board and the community further.
Thank you so much, esteemed board members and executive cabinet. I am so honored and just beyond thrilled and excited for this amazing opportunity that I have right now. I was overwhelmed by just the outpour of support that I received from all my colleagues and just the board members as well after I was announced of being selected. The outpour was just amazing, and I was thrilled and excited and just beyond words. Like Dr. Pulver mentioned, I have 23 years experience of school district finance. I came from the private sector, and when I started working in school district, I never looked back, because basically, working in school district, you have a sense of purpose. And this is really a good sense of purpose. I grew up in a low-income family, so I received so much support from teachers and administrators growing up. I was an English learner. I partaked in the food services. I actually served. I really loved going to the cafeteria and serving. When they asked for volunteers, who wants to serve in the cafeteria, that was me. I love to serve. That's just who I am. I want to see people happy. I want to be able to just pour as much as I can to the community. And because of that, when I started working in school district finance, I started working in the categorical programs. And I saw how Title I English learners, how that money was poured out, and the hard work that, like Andrea Reed and administrators in the educational side worked so hard to come up with programs to help those families in need. And that was me, my family. We were in need. We needed those services. We needed those programs in place so we could succeed. And you have no idea the joy that my family, when I told them that I was selected, they were over the moon. And till this day, I mean, I get teary because it's just an amazing opportunity for me and for my family to let them know that it is possible. And I'm just really thrilled and excited that we have an amazing business services team. I get to work with CJ, continue to work with CJ and John and Celeste, who are amazing individuals. And of course, an amazing leadership team. Dr. Pulver, goodness, you're an amazing leader. Andrea is an amazing leader, and so is Dr. Frazier. So I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. I'm looking forward to learning, thriving, and providing all the services that I can. So thank you so much. I am humbled and just beyond excited. So thank you so much.
Anybody like to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm just so happy that you're going to be staying with us. Since you have come to our district, I have seen you grow and blossom, and I hope that your mentors have given you different opportunities so that you're able to really learn and grow, because it sure seems like you have since the first time I have met you. It's great because you know us, you know our philosophy, you know our feelings, you know our service level. And I know you're going to do a phenomenal job. And I promise the first financial report, I'm not going to ask any sticky questions.
You can handle it. Anybody else?
I remember standing on the street corner with you while it was ride your bike to school day or walk to school day, and we were sitting there chatting. And I was so taken by your warmth and your dedication to your family and to this district. And then as I've seen you present so clearly and well-defined what we need from a finance position, I'm just really incredibly thrilled that you are in this position and that you are going to help guide this district and continue to keep this district very healthy and solvent. And thank you for taking a risk on us as well.
Yeah.
Did anybody else? I'd just like to say that I've gotten to know you somewhat just since coming on the board, and it just struck me how, with what clarity and intelligence you exhibit when you present your reports. It's not always the subject matter that comes incredibly easy to me. I'm doing a lot of learning about budgets and fiscal responsibility, but every time you're up there and you are explaining things, there's such clarity in your message, and I understand things at a much deeper level because of the way that you present them. And Meg said she wouldn't give you any hard questions, but really honestly, from everything I've seen, you would have no problem with them. So we are truly fortunate to have you, not just because of your skill, but because of your heart and your spirit and your commitment. So I'm really thankful that you weren't wooed away.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I am truly honored, and I do want to make sure that you are aware that I will pour my heart and soul in ensuring that the kids they have all the resources and that we do stay solvent. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. And normally we would have her family here, and I know your family's probably watching on TV. Is there anything you'd like to say to your family, and certainly not lose this moment? I know even you and I talked about your mother, and she didn't even how proud that she was for you. And Mija, she was so proud of you.
Right.
And I don't know if there's anything you want to say to your family. I don't want you to lose that opportunity.
Well, I just want to say to my daughters, you guys mean the world to me, and I know that you guys will succeed because, I'm hoping that I will set a good example for you, that life does get hard, but it's not impossible to fulfill your dreams. And my parents, I love you. They've been so supportive. And like I told Dr. Pulver, when I mentioned I am the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, they won't understand. They don't understand. My mom will just say, "Oh, mija, estoy muy contenta, and I'm happy for you." That's what she would say. Keep up the good work.
That's a good word, yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. So now we normally move into recess, but do we want to just keep going? Okay. So at this point, we would have community and staff participation, and I do believe we have a letter to share. Dr. Pulver?
Yes, we do. We have one public comment, and I will go ahead and start the timer, but it'll be a little bit longer unless I can read faster. The public comment is from Eddie Quartermarch, teacher at Los Alamitos High School. And it says, "Good evening, LAUSD board members and district administrators and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to participate this evening. I'm a social science teacher and head coach of the boys basketball program at Los Al High. My purpose this evening is to represent high school teachers on the alternative scheduling leadership team. We are a dedicated team that has been meeting independently and in concert with district administrators since March of 2019. In August of 2019, Stacy Miter, Brendan Hart, Mossy Kennedy, and I formed the previously mentioned leadership team and met with Ms. Andrea Reed and Ms. Melissa Davis to formally discuss the large contingency of LAHS students who are receiving credit for classes completed at outside institutions. Most of the students completed courses through Orange County Department of Education's Pacific Coast High School, which specializes in offering distance learning and accredited courses. Over the years, the number of students enrolling in these classes was significantly increasing because it allowed students to flexibly complete courses during the summer to free up space during the school year for electives, AP honors classes, and/or a shortened school day. Consequently, fewer and fewer students receiving instruction from Los Al High educators, which disproportionately impacted the social science department. The purpose of the alternative scheduling leadership team was to find creative ways to, 1, bring these students back on campus, 2, offer flexible scheduling options, 3, maintain the rigor and accountability of traditional LAHS courses, and 4, ensure the well-being and stability of LAHS teachers. The experience has been organic, inclusive, thorough, exciting, and ultimately productive. I commend Mrs. Andrea Reed and Mrs. Melissa Davis for providing unparalleled leadership and commitment to a very time-intensive teacher-led process. Their willingness to reconsider any idea, any question, and any discussion leads me to believe that we are only scratching the surface of the type of educational opportunities we will be able to provide our students for years to come. In February of 2020, we were in the process of making final adjustments to our proposed plan for summer 2020, and unfortunately, the coronavirus justifiably redirected our time and efforts. Despite this obstacle, our summer 2020 alternative scheduling program was undoubtedly successful. It brought students back on campus with flexible offerings taught by LAHS teachers and overwhelmingly enjoyed the unique opportunity. Even under ideal circumstances, nobody on the alternative scheduling leadership team believed that our summer 2020 program was a finished product. We recognize that limited time and resources only allowed us to provide the framework for continued improvements. We believe that Los Alamitos High School is a special place, and a diploma from LAHS should reflect the prestige, accountability, and rigor that our institution embodies. Ensuring that our students receive the best education that we can means a continued commitment to creating learning opportunities that go beyond the traditional classroom, but stay within the LAHS experience. I look forward to my 2 young daughters attending Los Alamitos High School, not because we allow other institutions to educate our students, but because we are committed to making sure our teachers teach our students. I don't know how to put a price on that experience, but I do know that continuing the development of our alternative scheduling program is a vital step to ensure that Los Alamitos High School provides 21st century educational opportunities for current and future Griffins. I look forward to many years of innovation and collaboration, and I thank you for your time. Sincerely, Eddie Quarter-March.
So we thank Mr. Quarter-March, one of our high school teachers, for a very timely letter, because that's what our workshop was on today. So. Now we move on to information and presentations, but we have none tonight, so we are going to move on to our consent items. And these are items that are connected with the normal business of the day. We know about them beforehand, and if we have questions, we submit them and we get answers, and if anything further needs to be done, we take care of it. But are there any pulls for tonight?
Yes, I'd like to pull 11F, please.
Okay, so any others? Okay, we're pulling 11F. So I would entertain a motion for consent on items 11A through E.
No.
Second.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. So now we will move on to the pulled item F, approval of filing of notice of completion with West Coast Air Conditioning Company, Incorporated, for the Los Alamitos High School infrastructure project.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, great.
The reason why I pulled that is that I know that our consent items are usual and customary in nature, but we actually totally finished a project, and I think we need to celebrate it. And particularly when you're doing infrastructure work literally looks like you're digging holes and filling them up again, and then digging another hole and filling it up. You don't get a beautiful pool afterwards. You don't get a really shiny new 3-story building. You just get patched asphalt. But if we don't do our infrastructure, our new STEM building, our new STEAM building won't be able to function well. Our teachers will not be able to teach as they should for 21st century instruction. And it's something that, it is one of these things that's not fun to repipe your house, but you have to do it. And so I'm just really proud that we've gone this far. We finished this project, and this is the final step. so that we can get approval from the Department of State Architecture that says we've done everything we're supposed to and everything's working fine. And I just think it needed to be celebrated a little bit.
I agree. I appreciate it. Would anybody else have anything to say? Okay.
And we were able to do it within our budget, as we often like to say,
Yeah,
on time and on budget.
On time and on budget.
Right, definitely reasons for
Celebration,
yeah. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries 5-0. We now move on to our action items. Our first action item is the second reading and final approval of revised Board Policy 1400, relations between other governmental agencies and the schools. Dr. Frazier, would you like to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, this is the second reading to update Board Policy 5147. Just as a reminder, there really are not any. I apologize, it's 1400. It's the relations between other governmental agencies, and there are not any substantial changes to the current practices being revised.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
Also move.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. Now, our next action item is the second reading and final approval of, and I think I'd better say there are a lot of board policies we're addressing here. And some of them, if we want to discuss them, if we feel it's necessary, we will tonight. A lot of the board policies come from the State School Board Association, and they're just rewording, combining policies, or choosing different words. But if there are any questions or discussions, the board members will gladly raise the issues. So this is the second reading and final approval of revised Board Policy 5147 about dropout prevention. Dr. Frazier?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, this is the second reading for the to update Board Policy 5147. And if you remember, this is the one that's really talking about language and replacing the at-risk students with at-promise in terms of the language. And our committees did meet, and so we're going to continue looking at language as we move forward.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. The next action item is approval of first reading of new Board Policy 6142.7, physical education and activity. And Mrs. Reed will be addressing that one.
Thank you, President Davidson. Yes, this policy is updated and adds a statement on equal access and equal opportunities for participation in physical education regardless of gender, gender expression, sexual orientation, and mental or physical disability, as included in the California Department of Education's federal program monitoring instrument. This policy also reflects the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommendations for moderate to vigorous physical activity in children, clarifies credentialing requirements for teachers of physical education, and reflects the requirement that students who have been granted a permanent exemption from physical education must still be offered physical education courses of at least 400 minutes each 10 school days.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
In reading through this policy, one of the things that I found very powerful is that I'm a true believer in physical fitness. I was never a very good athlete, but I work out 5 to 6 days a week, and I just believe that it really helps with mental health, with brain stimulation, with so many aspects of one's life, with staying positive and obviously healthy. And I love that we have that as a policy, and that's in the policy, it talked about lifetime opportunity to teach children to have fitness in their life for their lifetime. And I think that's really an important thing that we can do. So I appreciate the policy and that intent of it as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Hill. Would anyone else like to comment? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. The next action item, approval of first reading of new board policy 6161.1, selection and evaluation of instructional materials. And Mrs. Reed?
Thank you, President Davidson. This policy reflects a new law, Senate Bill 820, which revises the definition of technology-based materials to include the electronic equipment required to make use of those materials. So really brings, when we talk about instructional materials and evaluation of materials, into 21st century education, because many of the programs and licenses, subscriptions that we bring to board require a device of some sort to manage. So it's just not about offering programming via app. It's also having the appropriate devices to deploy to students and enough to make those apps and that curriculum worthwhile. It also adds references to sample board policies and regulations for complaints and concerning these new types of designated instructional materials.
Excellent, thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
Also move.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Oh.
Aye. Oops.
It's okay.
Would anybody like to
Thank you.
discuss this first?
I did. I sent in a question, and that was one of the things I just kind of wanted to highlight as we go through these policies. If we have questions, it's not that we all read them, we all go through them if we have questions regarding them. And my question regarding this one was really related to the committee that puts together how we look at our instructional materials. And it was interesting in there in the policy, it said, and as I said, these come from the CSBA, and it said that we could even use a student to help evaluate these. And I had asked if we'd ever done that, and we had not, but I did want to ask Mrs. Reed, what is that procedure that we use related to the public to look at our educational materials?
So the majority of our review of educational materials begins at the teaching level. Typically that is initiated because the State Board of Education enters into a new adoption cycle. So I'm going to give a great example. Our math adoption cycle is upcoming in about a year. And so with that, we'll bring together a curriculum steering committee of mathematics teachers from across the district at varying levels. We'll then invite publishers in to do presentations where they're able to really overview all that they offer teachers. They leave samples with the teachers. We probably see 5 or 6 of those. And prior to that, I take a small team to the County Office of Education where we go to a curriculum fair. There will probably be 50 different publishers present. We'll sit through many sessions at that fair to try to dwindle down to the 5 to 7 that we'd want to bring back to the larger committee here at the district. Once we've seen the initial 5 to 7 presentations, those teachers take their samples back to their teams. They fill out a rubric that we provide for them. It's an evaluation toolkit of each of the curricula, where we really look at things like the assessments that come with it, the rigor, the universal access for different types of learners to curriculum as well. And then from there, we will take the 5 to 7 back to the committee for typically a vote, where we will talk about positives, challenges, things that we're seeing in the curriculum that may benefit kids, things that would benefit the use of a teacher for practicability. We'll try to dwindle that down to 2 or 3, and we'll initiate actual pilots of the curriculum inside classrooms. So although students never participate in the actual evaluation, they're definitely involved in the pilot of those materials and give us feedback because they know they're using something special, right, that we're looking at that might bring forward. And then we meet again as a large team and we debrief the pilot, what worked, what didn't. And we go through that process till we're able to form consensus on a piece of adoption material that we feel would benefit us. As you know, many of our adoptions last for 7 years and sometimes much longer. As you also know, the funding for adoptions has dramatically changed in the last 7 years. So what used to be guaranteed textbook funding materials now comes from our general budget or our allocated LCFF money. So you might not initially engage in an adoption at the same time frame as you would have previously, when that money could only be spent per se on like textbooks and materials. So it is a long process. Once we bring that process here to board, we review that material with you. It goes on a public preview for 30 days. So our community is able to come here to the district office or send us an email and we share a link where they can review materials at home. they can provide public comment because we bring it here and then we come back 30 days later and then you guys take action on approving that curriculum. So it's a long process. There's a lot of stakeholders involved, from teachers to administrators to members of the Ed Services team.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed. And that was a really good thing that you pointed out, that students really are
That's
engaged.
what I was going to say. I love unpacking that question because on first blush, even when we got the board members' questions, we think of just the criteria of the committee, and we don't have students served per se on the committee. But in reality, we actually do have our students involved in the process because we pilot several different programs for sometimes up to a quarter to a semester, could be longer than that. And so as we unpack it, my mind was going exactly where Mrs. Reed's went, was absolutely, we actually do include students in the process.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I just had a quick question. So when you're selecting instructional materials, and so you're talking about textbooks, do you have to make decisions between whether they're online textbooks or, bound paper textbooks?
So it's really interesting. As we were going through a recent ELA and science adoptions of some of our teams, different publishers are offering different packages. And so every publisher is definitely offering an electronic package. Most school districts, because of Williams Act, are still wanting to have a paper textbook available, even if it is only, I'm going to make this up, 32 for a biology teacher. So she has those 32 in the classroom that are used for every period, and maybe an extra 10 in the media center. So if a family was ever to come forward and share that they didn't have a device where they could access the full textbook, we would still have a textbook for them to check out. But that's still a very vast contrast to us purchasing a classroom set plus one per student, as you know, is our previous practice in 612, so that students wouldn't have to be taking many of those heavy books home with them. So we would be cutting down dramatically on the actual hard copy, but it doesn't make it less expensive, because with an electronic adoption, the companies pledge to update the curricula ongoingly. So there's yearly updates of new information and functions and interactive components of a digital book. So you're still paying a yearly fee on the book instead of just buying the book outright, and then it would per se be yours for 7 years without further payment.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Carries 5-0. The next one is approval of first reading or revised board policy 6172.1, concurrent enrollment in college classes. And Mrs. Reed?
Thank you, President Davidson. So this is an update to our policy, and the update includes new laws that reflect AB 1729, as well as Senate Bill 554. The policy and regulations add new sections for districts that wish to establish a college and career access pathways, a CCAP, partnership program in which the board enters into an agreement with the governing board of a community college district to offer or expand a dual enrollment opportunities for students. And so, as you know, here in Los Alamitos Unified, we happen to have a CCAP with Cypress College.
Then I just want to remind the board that actually, since the board posting, the agenda posting, we actually revised it one more time, so you'll have a revised version of the first reading with a couple more crossouts. The more that we were able to get a little bit more information from the county, we were waiting for a response from them of things that don't really apply to us, so we wanted to, if it didn't apply, we wanted to be able to omit it from the policy. So you'll see some new strikeouts in the revised portion that we are presenting moving forward. There will still be a second reading at the next board meeting, but I wanted to make sure you caught that.
Okay, so do I have a motion for approval of the revised version?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, any discussion?
I did have one question on this as well. It said within the policy that the board and the superintendent would make a decision of how many concurrent enrollment units are allowed. And the answer I got back is that at this point in time, we haven't made that a solid number. Is that correct?
That is accurate, because our CCAP agreement with Cypress College has an allowable amount of units, and we designate that based on how long our contract is with them. So the part of the policy that I believe you're referring to, Mrs. Hill, is for students who truly will be full-time college students that the board would give a special permission to and still be full-time high school students. We don't currently have any students who fit that particular niche, not that we wouldn't moving forward, but under our current CCAP, students can take 12 units through the course of a year, but that's not excluding additional courses they could take during the summer on a long list of courses that we designate as early entrance requirements with Cypress College.
Great. Thank you very much for that clarification.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion carries 5-0. Okay, the next approval is the approval of the first reading of revised board policy 2121, the superintendent's contract. Dr. Pulver, would you like to speak to that?
I would. Thank you, Madam President. This really is just the policy that is associated with the employment of a superintendent and the contract. And it's really the changes are reflective of some of the laws that have occurred, which we've already been participating in because we also obviously want to follow the law. For example, what you had seen today earlier when we approved our assistant superintendent's contract, that prior to the approval, you have to have a public statement clearly articulating what is the amount of the salary and the fringe benefits. So some of the other, as you might recall, a few years ago in the city of Bell and a few other where there was some quite a bit of conflict with how compensation was done without people really knowing fully. So really just reflecting some of the law changes, and we wanted to have that reflected in the board policy.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
Also move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. We are now on to the approval of warrants, and these are all of have to do with all the bills that we pay. And we are approving warrants totaling $1,544,148.18 for the period of November 9th through the 17th of December, 2021. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. So we have to agree to pay the bills, don't we?
And it was only 17 pages this time, so I was happy.
Yeah, it was short.
So this is the part that everybody loves, the acceptance of donations. And at a time where people are struggling, our high school isn't in session at the moment, we still have so many people and organizations out there being incredibly generous. So we have a total monetary donation for this past month of $5,000. The total year-to-date donations are $161,487.92. So we thank you with all our hearts for your generosity, a community that never stops giving in spite of obstacles. And we will gladly take a motion for acceptance of these donations.
So moved.
Second, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. Next, we are going to look at our classified personnel report and our certified personnel report that has been revised. And we would like Dr. Frazier to address this.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll present these separately tonight. So the first one, I'd like to bring forward the classified personnel report as presented.
Okay.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. The motion carries 5-0. Okay, so we're on to certified personnel report, and it's been revised. Dr. Frazier.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam President. As you previously noted, I'll be bringing forward the certificated personnel report that is revised tonight. Thank you.
And then that's where I'd like to just indulge you a little bit. The revision on the certificated personnel report, the one change that I have brought forward and recommending is to elevate the title of Mrs. Andrea Reed, Assistant Superintendent, to our Deputy Superintendent. We have a new, relatively young administrative assistant superintendent. Andrea is the longest serving assistant superintendent, has spectacular relationships. Her expertise, her skill set, her wisdom, and her knowledge and her support to all our sites and to our leaders and to our staff is something that we rely on and would like to elevate her title. There's no change in compensation. I know many of us wish that we could, but we're not in those times, but certainly want to be able to recognize the critical nature that Mrs. Reed provides, and I'm asking the board to approve allowing us to change her title to Deputy Superintendent.
I move approval for the certified personnel report with the revisions.
I'll second.
Do I have a second?
I said
Was
I
it there?
second.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, we can just fight over it, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2. Okay, all those in favor, oh, I'm sorry, is there a discussion?
Yeah, I would, this is richly deserved. You really bring a lot to the table when you come, Andrea. You know our district, you know the people, you know how to work with the people, you know how to inspire people, and I think this is richly deserved, and now you'll be like right behind Andrew in case he needs help and support, or if he actually decides to take a vacation and leave town, and therefore you would get all the phone calls that, Roma's on fire or whatever. But congratulations, it's very richly deserved.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment, in my short term, you are a gift to the district. Glad to get to know you.
Mr. Fayette?
Ditto.
Okay. Mrs. Hill?
Once again, I'm beginning to feel really kind of old because I worked very closely with Mrs. Reed. I guess it was more than 10 years ago now, wasn't it? And you were the most incredibly efficient, visionary person I had been exposed to. And it has just given me great pleasure to see how you have built your career here. And we are just really grateful that we can give you this opportunity to build that career just a little bit more and stay here and stay home with us. So thank you for that, and thank you for all that you've done, and thank you, Dr. Pulver, for really having the vision to bring that forward. And we're just really grateful for you, Mrs. Reed.
And I think that beyond this room and the people that are in it, there's a whole community and staff administrators on every campus that would echo that. Over the past couple of years, we've faced so much and dealt with challenge after challenge, and much of the time you've been thrown into a role of creator, innovator, peacemaker, orchestrator, and every single time you have risen far and beyond any expectation that any of us could have. You and Dr. Pulver work so well together, and I just have to say that in the community, amongst teachers and administrators, parents, you are revered for the work that you've done. As a former teacher, we can tend to be critical because you're making decisions about what we do in the classroom, but I'm telling you, your decisions, your leadership is highly respected, and this title absolutely is yours. So thank you for everything. Okay, do I have to move now?
Now we need to vote.
Okay, that was 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Now we come to the point of communication, and this is where the board members get to share. So, Mr. Fayette, would you like to start?
Yeah, I stayed home and kept my mask on.
Yeah, good. That was a smart move. Good, good.
What a rebel.
Yeah. Everybody do what he does.
Yes.
Okay, good. Mrs. Catulli?
Yes, I was able to, I just did, because we was over the winter holiday, and it was nice to have a break. But I was able to catch the Oak drama performance where the students did the sonnets, and it was just really I kept looking at these kids who were reciting poetry. And you needed to recite it as if you understood what you were saying. And they understood what they were saying, and they said it with great expression. And I thought, what a fabulous exercise in English they got in their drama class. So I just thought that was really enjoyable, and especially for a middle school age kids to do that. And I was also able to see the high school choir performance that was so creative. It was almost ethereal because they were, like what Dr. Pulver said, they're outside and they had at night and lights and a fog machine and dancing and instruments, and it was magical. I always look forward to the choir performance. I always think that's the start of the holiday season. And I thought, well, it's not going to be much of a holiday season anyway, so we don't have the choir performance. But this was just outstanding. So I wanted to give a shout out for that. Again, congratulations to Dr. Pulver for being one of the top 100 most influential. And I also want to put this shout out to Tanya Doby, who is a city council member in Los Alamitos. I know her through PTA Council and her involvement with schools in our district. And she was also named. And I thought that was, we're not that large of a community. And to have 2 people, I thought, 2% is impressive, I thought. So other than that, I want to also throw out there what they've been saying on Main Street, Seal Beach, is to hang fast. We will get through this pandemic. We're at a apex now. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen the next 10 days or so because of the holidays. But we all should have done exactly what Scott did. We all should have stayed home and just taken our masks off and not gone anywhere. So I'm just really asking our community to hang in there. We will get through this, and we will go back to our regular life. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Forehand?
Yes, Dr. Pulver, you took all my thunder because I watched the Oak performances, the Los Al performances, the McAuliffe performances, and I remain in total awe as to not only the power of the staff, but the messages that the productions put out and the kids reinforced, and then the technology. I mean, you even alluded to the fact that, my gosh, I'm watching this, and they did this all virtually, and it was the highlight of my family room anyway throughout the season there. And then it's interesting, Joseph taught for me when he first became a teacher, the Oak drama teacher, Dr. Arias, and he is in his element, the production, and he and I have spoken, was unbelievable. To watch the braces on the kids talking all those things. So it was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hill?
Well, much has been said, but I did enjoy the virtual jazz performance. They did the utilization of technology, the thought that went into the production. It wasn't simply, putting a camera on individual kids. It was just, there was so much thought through. And just really also appreciative of letting the public know that this is the way we're doing it and that it is safe, and that, so I just appreciated that. And of course, the choir performances, I was really thinking we weren't going to get to see that this Christmas. So I was very, very joyful in doing that. And also, as Mrs. Gatuli said, I wanted to just give a shout out to Mrs. Doby. She is a wonderful community member, what she has done within our schools. And she was appointed to the city council, and they went to trustee areas. So then she had to run in a different area than she was originally appointed in. And she did an amazing job. And she is a great partner to have in our district as well. And then once again, Elvia, we're very excited to have you. Congratulations, Dr. Pulver. Congratulations, Mrs. Garcia. And congratulations, Deputy Reed.
Thank you. So once again, all of the mention of the drama, music, and song programs, I echo the praise. Actually, I probably was very close to Scott's life over the holidays, and this was my Broadway, my opportunity to experience music and dance, and I'm completely astounded by what is accomplished at the drama programs, and I really want to give a shout out to the middle schools for their use of with mythology, because when those students move on to the high school, mythology is a big part of their English program, and so it came to life for them, and then they were able to share it in a way that was incredibly engaging. The use of sonnets, once again, is just paving the way in a whole other department. The integration of different curriculum and different art forms. And I wanted to thank Mrs. Armstrong at McCullough, the drama teacher, who gave a great explanation of the difficulty of doing all this in the midst of COVID, but the positive work that's done together, the way that they teamed, the way that they created things, the way that they did the costumes, the way that they were socially distanced and masked, but the way that they came together and made something very special happen. I think our art programs are phenomenal. I can't even imagine how difficult it is. They're visual, they're kinesthetic, it's all about movement and song, and every one of those things we've inhibited, and yet they continue to produce. So thank you for your report to Dr. Pulver honoring that. I did get to serve the day after the last board meeting on a very special interview panel for Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, and you just did a knockout job. It was very exciting to listen to you. Interviews have always been a nemesis of mine, and they obviously for you, you were outstanding, Elvia, and just once again, we're so thrilled to have you here. I have only one sad note, but note of respect. We lost Dr. Mildred Watson over the vacation. Dr. Watson was my daughter's 8th grade counselor at the high school. She was a phenomenal woman. If anybody was to epitomize lifelong learning, Millie was the woman. She had a bachelor's in science, 3 masters, different masters in science, and a PhD from Claremont McKenna in education. She did a variety of things over her life that influenced, impacted, and changed the lives of young people. I only knew her as Dr. Watson, but as a parent of an incoming 9th grader, my first child, she was a voice of calm and reassurance to me from the beginning. She was African American and made it very clear to her friends on campus that she had a special concern, care, and empathy for the students of color on campus, and she would always be there for them and keep a watchful, loving eye out for them. But in all of her seriousness and calmness, a whole lot of teachers who have retired sort of networked over the holidays, sharing different stories, and all of them talked about her heart and her compassion and her care for students, but they also said she was wickedly funny. So I just think, thank you, God, for a woman like Dr. Watson and for bringing her to our district, and may we have many more wonderful people to lead our children. So thank you, Dr. Watson. And if there's nothing else to be said, this concludes our January 5th board meeting. Thank you so much. Is that it? Oh, yeah, right. You're right. No, I felt like it was back in 7th grade.